Hello and many thanks for joining us on Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I'm Ian Ray John. Welcome. President Muhammadu Buhari has assured Christian leaders in the country of his commitment to leave Nigeria better than he met it in 2015. A statement signed by the special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, affirmed that President Buhari's administration will continue to address important national challenges, including security, economy and corruption. Commending the important roles religious bodies have played in the last 4 years of the administration, President Buhari pledged to continue supporting several programs anchored by the Nigeria Interreligious Council, geared towards peace, tolerance, unity and harmony in the country. CAN leadership, led by Reverend Ayokunle, were at the State House to congratulate President Buhari on his re-election. Also welcomed the president's pledge to run an inclusive government and called for ethnic and religious balance in the selection of the leadership of the 9th National Assembly. CAN also appealed to the president to task security agencies to be more proactive in their duties and requested for relentless efforts to free Leah Sharibu, other Chibok girls and Nigerians in captivity. President Muhammadu Buhari says without social, political and economic stability, no nation can effectively manage its resources for public good. The president said this while granting audience to a special envoy of the President of the Republic of Congo. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo completes the story.
Mr. Jean-Claude Ngakoso, who is the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Congolese in the diaspora, is here to convey a special message to President Muhammadu Buhari on behalf of President Denis Sassou Nguesso. President Buhari noted the Republic of Congo as a medium oil producer in Africa, saying Nigeria will sustain the highly beneficial collaboration and cooperation with the country so as to get the best from their resource potentials and invest for development. He, however, stressed the need for peace and stability so that such resources can be used for the good of the people. Stability, President Buhari insists, is critical if a country would manage its resources effectively. In Nigeria, for instance, the president said he is fully aware of the country's challenges, including deficient in infrastructure, and promised that in his last lap in office, he will do his very best to improve on the nation's political and economic stability. The special envoy, on behalf of his president, formally congratulated President Muhammadu Buhari on what he called his brilliant performance at the last presidential election. He wished the president wisdom and good health so that he can continue to lead his people efficiently and effectively. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And away from the State House now, the Code of Conduct Tribunal has dismissed the no-case submission filed by the suspended Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onoge. The chairman of the tribunal, Danladi Umar, said by the virtue of the confession allegedly made by the jurist that he forgot to declare his bank account is enough for him to enter his defense in order to clear his name. The tribunal has adjourned to next Monday for the counsel to the defendant to open its defense on the matter. Justice Onoge is standing trial on 6-count charge bordering on false declaration of assets. And away from the court now, the Independent National Electoral Commission has declared the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Amadou Fintiri, winner of the Adamawa State governorship election. The state returning officer, Professor Andrew Harina, declared that Fintiri, a former acting governor of the state, secured 337,552 votes to defeat the incumbent governor, Jabrila Bindo of the All Progressives Congress, APC, who polled 336,386 votes. Tafawa Hamza has the details.
Umaru Ahmadu of PDP, having satisfied the requirements of the law and scored the highest number of votes, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected.
Professor Andrew Haruna of Federal University Gashua declaring the result of the governorship election in Adamawa State started on the 9th and ended on the 28th of March 2019 through supplementary election. Infantry of the PDP won with over 376,000, beating the incumbent Governor Muhammad Umar Jibrila of the APC, who scored 336,386, while Senator Abdul Aziz Nyako of African Democratic Congress ADC got 113,237 votes. The election was keenly contested, while 29 candidates participated, out of which 4 were female. The state returning officer, Andrew Haruna, appreciated all stakeholders for their cooperation and pressed that be maintained for the good of all. In Yola, Tafawa Hamza Mayo, NTA News.
Federal Ministry of Power, Works and Housing at a budget defense before the Senate Committee on Lands, Housing and Urban Development says the 2019 appropriation for the housing sector will focus on completion of the construction of 1,155 blocks of 2,383 units of housing under the National Housing Program across the country. National Assembly correspondent Kenneth Nanim reports that the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Mohammed Bukar, stood in for the Minister at the budget defense.
Capital budget for the housing sector in the 2019 appropriations is put at 79.967 billion naira. If adequately released as at when due, the ministry is optimistic that various ongoing projects critical to the socio-economic development of the nation embarked by the sector will be completed. The senators raised various concerns, including cases of building collapse, low pace of work, and commitment of international partners, judicious utilization of the internally generated revenue, and prioritization of projects.
The ministry is very slow. If you didn't put it that way, let me just put it clearly.
We are slow because of the magnitude of the projects. I don't think there is any particular ministry that has this quantum of projects of over 70 billion, sir. And yes, sir, all others is 5 billion, 6 billion. If you go to, we receive over 70 billion worth of your projects. And we are under obligation to make sure that these projects are properly costed in terms of bill of quantities, in terms of BME. Instead for us just to, we can't just walk towards the answer and say because there's a project 200 million naira, we award it on the basis of 200 million naira. We have to know exactly what is the scope of the work, what is the bill, and so on. So this took quite a chunk of our time in doing that, but thankfully we are done with it, sir.
The lawmakers also resolved to carry out thorough oversight on the ongoing projects being executed by the agencies for on-the-spot assessment. From the National Assembly, Kenneth.
And staying with budget defense, the Ministry of Labour and Employment says it will reintroduce labour inspection officers in the country to check excesses and abuse of labour laws. The Minister of Labour, Chris Ngige, made this known during his defense of the ministry's 2019 budget before the Senate Committee on Labour. John Yaku has details on this and other budget defense at the National Assembly.
The 2019 budget of 7.45 billion naira is above the 2018, which stood at 6.5 billion naira. Asked how the ministry is engaging youths in the country, the minister says government, through its agricultural and social intervention programs, is tackling the matter.
This is the only place where an increase because one of the cardinal things in labor inspection is inspection of factories under the Department of Occupational Safety and Health.
The Director General of National Productivity Center made a case for the renovation of its burnt office, but the Senate committee says the cause of the fire must first be investigated.
You must know what caused the fire, whether it is negligence on the part of management, or whatever happened before you jump into that.
Similarly, the Ministry of Environment has proposed spending of 27.3 billion naira in the 2019 fiscal year. Minister of Environment Suleiman Hassan said this during his ministry's budget defense before the House Committee on Environment and Habitat. The minister says this is in line with government's growth plan on effective environmental governance and rehabilitation of degraded sites.
Continued implementation of the UNIP report on the remediation of Ogoni land, environmental health sanitation, increased effort to resuscitate Lake Chad, streamlining waste-to-wealth programs.
Chairman of the committee, Obinna Chidoka, called for the signing of environmental bills into law and improved budgetary allocations to agencies to function in 2019.
We are putting heads together to know what we do, but what is law is law. I hope that in the coming months, in the new assembly, we'll be able to work on that bill again and see if we eventually will get a presidential assent.
During the defense, the Environmental Health Officers Registration Council of Nigeria announced its plan to launch campaign against drying of foodstuff on the roadsides across the country this year. From the National Assembly, John Yaku, NTA News.
And now looking at security, searchlights were beamed on counter-insurgency and terrorism at the defense of the 2019 budget proposals by parastatals in the Ministry of Defense before the House Committee on Defense. National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Aminu has details.
The defense parastatals made presentations on the performance of 2018 budget allocations with a view to seeking approval for year 2019 budget proposal.
Hopefully, the committee will help us to make sure that we are able to assess our initial projection of 9 billion, because this is a shortfall of about 74 million from 2018 estimates.
If our overheads are approved timely, it will help us in implementing some of the field and simulation exercises we have in store for our officers.
The Nigerian Defense Academy, NDA, Defense Industry Corporation of Nigeria, DICON, and Defense Space Administration requested increase in overheads and the committee to ensure timely releases of funds.
The committee will look at your 2019 budget, has requested the increase on your overhead, and we'll look at even your personal emolument that you complain about the releases. We will liaise with the Ministry of Finance to see your monies are released to you.
The committee promised adequate legislative support towards improving production capacity of DICON, adequate military training, and to keep the national satellite capacity needed to monitor in detail criminal activities in the forest. From the National Assembly, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
Many thanks, Abdullahi. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mohammed Bello, says the thrust of the FCT proposed spending for 2019 is in keeping with the resolve of government to improve infrastructure within the city by completing all ongoing projects for all-round development. He said this during presentations on the ministry's budget performance for 2018 and projections for 2019 before the House of Representatives Committee on FCT. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali brings us details.
Infrastructure development within the Federal Capital City and adjoining communities is a priority area, according to Mohammed Bello, which was why the completion of phases 1, 2 and 3 of such projects are of topmost importance, as government is committed to ensuring that Abuja remains a model city.
We're also allocating some amount of money to cater for the satellite towns, especially the major satellite towns. As he rightly mentioned, Kubwa, Karshi and Buhari are catered in this budget. The other satellite towns, we have captured them in the statutory budget, and one of which is a very important road, which we think is very important, is to dualize the road linking Kuje Township with the main expressway of the airport.
The committee expressed concern on budgetary releases to the ministry, urging that more projects should be captured.
The FCT needs adequate appropriation to fund critical national projects, which the targeted dates of completion have since elapsed. We engage relevant committees of the House to assist in increasing allocation to FCT.
The 2019 proposal for the FCT is more than 30 billion naira, 2 billion naira less than approvals for 2018. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
And if you just joined us, you're watching Nationwide live on the network service of the NTA. We'll take a quick break now. The news returns in a bit. Glad to have you back. It's now time to join Jennifer in Lagos for more news on Nationwide. Hello, Jennifer.
Hello, Yuri. Welcome to Lagos. Now, the Lagos State Governor-elect, Babajide Sanwo-Olu of the APC, and his deputy, Obafemi Hamzat, have been presented with their certificate of return by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC Lagos. The presentation was done by the INEC National Commissioner representing Lagos, Ogun, and Ondo, Dr. Adekunle Ogumola. Tunde Saiki reports.
The Deputy Governor-elect, Dr. Obafemi Hamzat, was the first to receive his certificate. The Governor-elect, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, supported by his wife, was next. INEC National Commissioner for Lagos, Ogun, and Ondo State, Dr. Adekunle Ogumola, described the presentation as the climax of the electoral process, urging Sanwo-Olu and his deputy to fulfill campaign promises based on the trust and confidence Lagosians have reposed in them.
Quality of the population in Lagos State, they are discerning people. So when they make a choice, they know what they are doing. And that places a lot of responsibility on your shoulders.
Governor and deputy in waiting expressed appreciation to Lagosians for finding them worthy leaders, vying not to betray the trust.
To get to work, to bring about positive development that will transform the Lagos of our dream to a greater height.
It's a very easy one. It's for us to take our state to a greater heights, and the challenge is there for us to resolve.
In the meantime, INEC disclosed that the presentation of certificate of return to the 40 elected members of the Lagos State House of Assembly will be performed in the coming weeks. In Lagos, Tunde Saiki, NTA News.
And to the judiciary, the Court of Appeal in Lagos has set aside a Federal High Court judgment which exempted the Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas Limited, NLNG, from levies and payment of taxes by the Nigeria Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA. Abolore Ogbara reports.
In 2013, NIMASA requested NLNG to pay all statutory levies accruable to the agency, including the 3% levy on gross freight on inbound and outbound international cargo, as well as 2% cabotage levy and sea protection levy. A federal high court in October 2017 said that NLNG was right in its refusal to pay levies demanded by NIMASA, and that all such payments already made by NLNG to NIMASA should be refunded. Following the dispute, a three-man panel of the appellate courts led by Justice Garuba Lawal returned the 2013 case to the lower court and ordered that the case be reassigned to another judge for retrial.
The immediate implication is that my clients won't pay the $55 million. That has been set aside, or it goes with the order setting aside the judgment of the Federal High Court.
We don't necessarily feel that it was the best decision in the circumstances. However, we are reviewing the judgment, and we will take instructions from our client as to the next steps to be followed.
In Lagos, Abolore Ogbara, NTA News.
Now, the Lagos State government has commenced the documentation of displaced persons from demolished buildings on Lagos Island for temporary relief accommodation at the Lagos State Government Resettlement Center, Igondo. Nosa Osula has the details.
Governor Akinwumi Ambode had earlier directed that those affected as a result of the ongoing demolition of defective buildings be resettled at the relief center in line with international best practices. The general manager of LASEMA, Adesina Tiamiyu, said that the exercise is part of the state government's efforts to ensure that the effect of loss on the victims is mitigated to the barest minimum.
We have taken them around the facilities. We visited the dormitories where they will sleep. We visited the clinic. We visited the dining hall. We also visited, the hall where they will be attended to.
Additional also assured residents that the Igondo resettlement camp has facilities to provide relief for affected victims, including those living with disabilities and children.
I want to assure, them, for every of their pupils that are in school, we will not stop their education. We will find a way to put them back in school, even if it is around here.
I really appreciate what they offer us.
The local government, what they provided is just for a short time and a makeshift. But coming to this facility, this is more comfortable.
The state government also advised occupiers of any demolished buildings and those already marked for demolition who desire to take advantage of this alternative temporary accommodation to register with the Lagos State Building Control Agency or the Office of the Special Advisor on Central Business Districts. In Lagos, Nosa Osula, NTA News.
Now, those are the stories from Lagos, and this are back to you in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Many thanks, Jennifer. Moving on, the National Assembly has promised due diligence on the bill to repeal Environmental Impact Assessment Act and the one to amend the National Biosafety Management Agency for the interest of Nigeria. Chairman, House Committee on Environment and Habitat, Obina Chidoka, made the promise at a one-day public hearing on the two bills. John Yaku has details.
The two bills were sponsored by the chairman of the committee.
Your submissions, presentations on the bills are very highly valued and will be dispassionately considered.
The Environmental Impact Assessment Bill seeks to set out general principles, procedure and method to enable prior consideration of environmental impact on certain public and private projects.
There's a need to review the Act by taking into consideration best practices, practical realities as applicable in other parts of the world.
Be given the power to do so at our own level.
The bill to amend the National Biosafety Management Agency Act received diverse views.
The practice of modern biotechnology and the use of its products do not cause any harm on biodiversity conservation and sustainable use, taking into account risks to human health.
This amendment will compound the risk or the challenges that the basic or the first generation of genetically modified organisms already poses to the health, environment, and economy of our people.
Speaker of the House of Representatives had urged various interest groups to be sincere in their submissions for the interest of humanity and to strengthen environmental institutions in the country.
It will also provide measures for a case-by-case assessment of genetically modified organisms and management of risk in order to ensure safety.
The committee promised to be fair to all views expressed by the people in the interest of all. In Abuja, John Yaku, NTA News.
And away from environment now, challenges due to under-release of appropriated fund recurred as Senate Committee on Information and National Orientation had budget defense sessions with heads of some agencies and parastatals under the Ministry of Information. National Assembly correspondent Omotola Omojola reports that the committee also had time with the Minister of Information and Culture.
Hearing from 5 agencies of the Ministry of Information, which includes the Nigeria Film and Video Censors Board, Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria, Voice of Nigeria, National Orientation Agency and Nigeria Film Corporation. The committee appreciated efforts of some of the agencies in carrying out their statutory functions despite shortfalls in releases.
Myself and my colleagues from the House have worked very hard to see how we can change the narrative. I will still do that.
It, however, reiterated the need for detailed accounting for expended funds.
I think you need to present to us how you spend your money annually, breakdown. We need to know what kind of training programs you have. So understand, because I think 600 million is much for a training program.
In a very brief meeting, Minister of Information and Culture Lai Mohammed also presented a budget estimate of more than 6 billion naira before the committee.
And for capital common to both information and culture, we are proposing 438,356,430 naira. It's making a total of 6,121,124,186 naira.
Though the financial year is not over yet, the committee expressed delight at the ability of the ministry to record balances in its 2018 budget performance. From the National Assembly, Omotola Omojola, NTA News.
And away from budget defense to the ancient city of Benin, the Oba, His Royal Majesty Ewa II, wants tougher punishment for human traffickers and receiver countries. He has also challenged the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, to join in the fight and help rehabilitate victims. This was when he received the U.S. Charge d'Affaires, David Yang, in his palace. Ifoma Okafor has the details.
Assuring the United States Charge d'Affaires of his readiness to work with them, the Benin monarch solicited grants for the Oba Ewa II Foundation to rehabilitate victims of human trafficking. He urged Mr. Yang to contribute to the return of Benin artifacts carted away by the Europeans so that the artifacts will be used to establish the Palace Museum.
If USA can come up with a program to work with my foundation to discourage human trafficking, and then also rehabilitate those that have been involved in illegal migration, that are now returning back that are being returned from Libya and elsewhere.
Mr. Young appreciated Oba Ewa for his pronouncements against human trafficking and illegal migration, which he observed have had great impact in bringing freedom to the victims.
But I wanted to particularly express deep appreciation for all your personal leadership and efforts in combating human trafficking.
He informed the Oba that the American government has adopted an approach to prevention, protection, and prosecution in the fight against human trafficking. In Benin, Ifoma Okafor, NTA News.
A serious alarm has been raised over the growth of an organized crime in the sale of human organs across identified black markets in the world. People falling victims of the crime most often are irregular migrants and trafficked persons. Our correspondent Usman Aliyu says the federal government has intensified awareness nationwide against the illicit business.
Nigeria's diverse cultures, norms and values provide one illustration, that is human dignity. But moral degeneration is said to be seriously affecting such values of recent. This visit by the officials of National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons at the Palace of Deji of Akure is all about exposing traffickers who sell people for sexual exploitation, domestic labor, and worst of all, vital human organs in some part of the world.
Victims are brutally murdered and their vital organs crudely removed with the help of some medical practitioners and sold to the highest bidders. And that is why we decided to look very closely at the so-called ritual murders, because we want to believe that there's a relationship between that and organ sales.
Ondo State government is also worried that the issue is changing the low crime status rating of the state. Therefore, a task force is now put in place for anti-human trafficking. And the police is equally reinventing strategies for the fight. Schools are also informed about the tricks by traffickers and the consequences of illegal migration. Usman Aliu, NTA News.
It's still nationwide on Africa's largest television network. Let's now take a trip to Kaduna, where Rukia will give us an update from that zone.
Welcome. Governor Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai says the days of partisan politics are over. Next is service delivery, and he will face that with renewed commitment, justice, and high sense of responsibility. Hamman Jabani reports that the governor said this shortly after receiving his certificate of return from the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC.
Governor Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai, who expressed faithfulness in a brighter future for Kaduna State, said his covenant with the people remained people-centered, all-inclusive governance. He assured the people that his government will pursue ongoing projects and embark on more with a view to bridging the gap of critical infrastructure in the state.
Governance now begins. We are committed in our governance to continue our reforms that put the ordinary people first in a fair and just manner. We will enforce the law without fear of favor. We will enhance the protection of the lives and property of all our citizens in this state, and will continue to create opportunities for them, whether they voted for us or not.
INEC National Commissioner supervising the FCT, Niger, Kaduna, and Plateau states, Professor Antonia Okosi-Simbeni, congratulated the governor and the electorate for a rancor-free elections.
We will continue to work on greater voter enlightenment for mandate protection, as well as with the security agencies to curtail the ugly trend of violence.
Elected State Assembly members also received their certificate of return from the electoral body. Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
The Kaduna State Council of Traditional Rulers have called on Governor Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai to consolidate on the existing reforms in critical sectors like education and health. The leaders made the plea during a visit to congratulate the governor for his victory at the poll. Muhammad Umar Ajengi completes the report.
The Council of Emirs and Chiefs, led by their chairman, the Emir of Zazzau Alhaji Shehu Idris, commended the manner in which the people of Kaduna conducted themselves during the last elections. They congratulated the governor-elect and his new deputy, Hadiza Balarebe, for the victory, asking them to carry everyone along irrespective of political differences. The Emir said the administration has done well in the areas of education, agriculture, and health, appealing for more innovation in such critical sectors to empower the people. The traditional rulers expressed confidence in the administration's resolve in revamping the educational sector for the children of the poor to get decent education.
I want him to do more on education. And of course, with the modern technology that is coming in, to have the ICT, concentrate on ICT.
What he has done, he has established a foundation, and I'm sure now he's going to build on that foundation and it will be good for us.
Governor Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai thanked the leaders and promised to be fair and just and create a conducive environment for every citizen to have a sense of belonging. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umar Ajingi, NTA News.
And Kaduna State Government has reassured core members posted to the state of its commitment to providing enabling environments for them to discharge their duties and offer quality service for the development of the state. Governor Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai stated this at the swearing-in of Batch A core members. Gloria Tuken-Warden reports.
As a tool for national unity, integration, and socio-economic development of the country, the National Youth Service Scheme has over the years remained the most enduring legacy of its founding fathers. Governor Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai of Kaduna State encouraged the core members to make good use of the scheme as it provides a platform to prepare the youths for challenges of life. He therefore said all activities at the orientation camp must be taken seriously, especially programs designed to empower the core members.
We are not unmindful of these challenges, but wish to assure her and all of you of the commitment of the Kaduna State Government to do our best in providing the enabling environment for you to discharge your duties. and offer quality service to the state.
Kaduna State Coordinator of the NYSC, Walida Sadiq Isa, said there are a series of programs and activities lined out for the period of the orientation course to prepare the corps members for the tasks ahead, adding that indiscipline will not be tolerated. A total of 2,007 youths are expected to take part in the 2019 Batch A orientation in Kaduna. In Kaduna, I'm Gloria Tukenwadu, NTA News.
And that's it from Kaduna. It's back to Inyere in Abuja for more stories on Nationwide.
Many thanks, Rukia, for that update. I have this interesting report that the Nigerian Television Authority has won the African Broadcasting Union Documentary Competition Award in Marrakesh, Morocco. NTA's entry, Ideal in Idea, which showed the enterprising spirit of the Nigerian youth despite challenges, won the award against documentaries from other African countries. NTA's Executive Director of News, Mohammed Labo, received the award this Thursday at the end of the three-day General Assembly of the African Union of Broadcasting in Morocco. In other news, for harmonious and conducive working environment to prevail, government and industrial unions must see themselves as partners in progress, working for the good of the society, rather than being ideologically rooted in their relations. This is the thrust of the 34th inaugural lecture of University of Abuja, delivered by Professor Isaac Nnamdi Obasi. Abdullahi Musa Soleja has details.
For a while now, key players in the education sector have aired their views on how best to resolve the lingering tussle between the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, and the federal government. The latest is coming from Professor Isaac Nnamdi Obasi at the 34th inaugural lecture of the University of Abuja.
I argue that both should change their perception of each other, which is in antagonistic terms. They have to change and adopt what collective bargaining prescribes. You must see your partner as a partner in progress, not as an industrial enemy. They must move along pragmatic, constructive, and cooperative relations.
He further noted that some of the industrial actions are quite avoidable by both parties, but also quick to add that ASU needs to change its strategies of struggles and devise a means of holding government accountable apart from academic activities. Such lectures help academics to attain professionalism. The theme of the lecture is Public Policy in Management of Industrial Relations. Abdullahi Musa Suleja, NTA News.
Moving on, Director General of the National Information Technology Development Agency, Ibrahim Isa Ali, has revealed that the only way to ensure efficient reforms in the Nigerian civil service is the utilization of information technology. He said this at a seminar in Abuja, which has as its theme the need for active engagement of public institutions in the implementation of its regulatory instruments. Ahmed has details.
Globally, information technology has become an indispensable tool for individuals and corporate organizations for more productive and efficient service delivery. Therefore, for any reforms in the public service to yield result, e-governance is the bedrock as productive hours and resources are well maximized for better output.
Important components for capacity building created by the Bureau of Public Service Reforms aim at promoting exchange of knowledge, experience, and practice around core reform areas in the federal public service.
The Chief Information Technology Officer of the Federation, Isa Ali, says ministries and agencies must wake up to the new trend of acquiring information technology in running their institutions for better service delivery.
IT is all about to make our life easy. It's about to save time. It's all about to save costs. It's all about to improve our communications. It's all about to build the confidence of the citizens, those we are serving. It's all about to make our work more effective and efficient. It's all about to improve transparency.
Ahmed, NTA News.
Elected officials in Oyo State receive certificates of return, and Kemi is standing by to bring us details of these and other stories making the rounds in Ibadan. It's over to you, Kemi.
Thank you, Inyere, and welcome to Ibadan. The Oyo State
State Governor-elect Seyi Makinde, his deputy, and 32 House of Assembly members-elect have been presented certificates of return by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Correspondent Oyinka Omole was there and now reports.
Many thanks, Kemi. We do sincerely apologize. This is the March we can take on Nationwide today. A live program on the award night of the body of benches in Nigeria. It's about to come on. Do stay with us.
If he's here, would like to acknowledge his presence, His Excellency Mr. Muhammad A. Abubakar, Executive